Hey beautiful people, this episode talks about how to be an innovative leader. We're going to explore how to move from managing tasks to leading innovation. We're going to look at the three engines of innovation leadership development, why power with leadership rather than power over leadership creates more opening for innovation, and how to use language and commitments to drive innovation. Why do most leaders accidentally suppress innovation? I have a 75% rule that actually accelerates innovation capacity development. We're going to look at how language shapes innovation capacity, and we're going to look at what happens when you stop controlling and start cultivating. At the end of the video, I want you to be able to understand how to develop innovation capacity in yourself and others. Let's talk about the foundation of innovative leadership. One of the key things that I've seen when it comes to people wanting to be an innovative leader is they focus on the ideas and they focus on being innovative rather than focusing on the practice of innovation. Now, I've written a book on the practice of innovation, which is called The Innovation Mindset. And the important thing about this book is that when we think about being an innovative leader, we think about leading differently or trying to innovate in our own leadership, instead of thinking about how do I build amazing bench strength around me and within me that actually drives, cultivates, fosters, amplifies innovation. I've done a significant amount of work with Toyota Motor Corporation, and Dr. Gil Pratt, who is the chief scientist of Toyota Motor Corporation and also the CEO of Toyota Research Institute, said this about innovation, which I think is absolutely critical for us to understand as we start thinking about innovation leadership or being an innovative leader. He said, "I strongly recommend the innovation mindset to anyone who wants to learn how to do the more challenging part of innovation, the transformation by human teams of inventions into innovations." So what Gil's doing in there is he's distinguishing between an invention, which is a great idea that some innovative person dreamt up, and an innovation that is actually something that gets brought to market and delivers enormous value for society in general and for the company who is producing it. So let's look at how you become an innovative leader in terms of a different understanding of innovation. Innovation being bringing the inventions to become innovations, bringing those to market, and understanding innovation as a human practice rather than innovation as ideas that get delivered into results or opportunities. And if we look at ourselves as being totalitarian leaders or command and control leaders, what we do with that is we remove the feedback loops. And a leader is only as good as the people who are willing to follow them. You can call yourself a leader all you want, and if you don't have 10, 20, 100, 100,000 people willing to follow you and willing to recognize you as a leader, you're not a leader. You're just someone who maybe should be locked up because they're calling themselves a leader and they actually aren't. So think about leadership as a practice that is recursive. You are constantly in the mode of feedback loops. You are constantly in the mode of learning from others all of the time. You are learning from the market. You are learning from your shareholders. You are learning from your bosses. You are learning from the CEO. And you are building your capacity to be able to incorporate all of that feedback into your own practices in a way that is coherent and in integrity for you. As you start thinking and recognizing the significance of innovation being a practice, you start looking at how do I build a practice for myself? How do I build a practice for my team? How do I build a practice for my organization? One of the ways to do that is to start with something incredibly small, because most practices start with something incredibly small. If you are anyone who practices anything, so you can practice a musical instrument, a sport, you can garden, you can practice yoga, you can build railway models, whatever it is that you do that's a practice, you start it incredibly small. Pretty much all of us in America drive. And many of us recognize that driving is a practice. Driving is a practice that you start with something incredibly small. You sit in the car, you organize your mirrors, you make sure you can see to the side and back and forward, you make sure that the seat belt is on and the seat is in a comfortable position for you to be able to move the pedals. Practice number one. You have moved light years from that practice. You now do that as an embodied practice automatically. As you start thinking of innovation, I really beg you to start understanding innovation in a similar way. Innovation is a practice. As a practice, the most important thing that you can start doing is start helping the other people around you learn how to innovate. And the reason for doing that is whenever I run programs for big companies, I look at the innovation capacity of the senior director and VP level. And then what I like to do is I like to sandwich them in between the people who are reporting to them and the C-level. Because what happens is when you start paying attention to your own innovation practices, it's really hard to do because it's really hard to see yourself the way other people can see you. It's much more effective to be able to see other people making mistakes that you can learn from. So as you start building innovation capacity in your team, one of the ways that I suggest you do that, and again, I'm likening this to you sit in the car and you move the mirrors to make sure you can see backwards and forwards, and you move the seat to make sure you can reach the pedals. The innovation equivalent of that is your people's ability to be able to design and make offers that will provide value for you or for their customers or for each other. One of the ways that I found that's incredibly valuable to do that is the good old 75% rule. If I have a lot on my plate that I'm working on at any given time, and I have a team of 5, 10, 20, 30, 100, whatever it is, I'm looking for a couple of people on that team who I can tap to make an offer to me to be able to take on a small amount of work. Now, I don't necessarily go to them and tell them what I want them to do. I'm not delegating the work to them. I'm going to them and going, look, I'm working on this, and here's what I'm struggling with in terms of bandwidth and time right now. I would love you to offer something that would be valuable for me to help me get this work done. I give them the context, I tell them the purpose of the work, I tell them who the customer for the work is. Lots of times it's me, sometimes it's someone would appear in another department or my boss themselves. And what I do is I ask them to design an offer, a pitch that they're going to make to me, that they're going to have their arms around, that they're going to be able to deliver on with the resource that they have. It might be themselves and or their team, and that they're going to do it by a certain date, by a certain time, with certain measurements and certain standards. So I ask them to design an offer for me. Now here's the deal with that is they're only going to deliver it to 75% of what I could do myself. A lot of us fall into the trap of saying, what's the point? I can do it better myself. If you do that, you are not building any innovation capacity around you, and actually you are limiting your ability to build your own innovation capacity. Once you start inviting people to make offers to you, allow for the fact that once in a blue moon someone will deliver it better than you can, and that's fantastic and to be celebrated. But the majority of the time, on average, they'll deliver it 75% as well as you could. Allow for the fact that you're coaching to the 25%. That's actually kind of a gift for you in terms of your ability to be able to grow them. One of the things I've discovered from doing this is one-on-ones can be incredibly hard work, and they can be pretty tedious and laborious if you are working against the growth development milestones exclusively that come from HR. They're valuable, but they shouldn't be the only topic of conversation you're having in your one-on-ones. If you're soliciting offers from people and you're coaching to that 25% that is the delta between what you would do yourself and what it is that they're capable of delivering for you, you're opening an opportunity for them to be able to engage with you, and you're making your one-on-ones a hell of a lot more fun, because now you're using them as a space for co-invention rather than that uncomfortable space of how fast can I get you your next promotion and where are you on the career trajectory. You want to have those conversations, of course, but you also want to be able to have those fantastic co-invention conversations where you're sharing your power with them, and you as an expert and them as an expert are coming together to co-invent something that is much more valuable than either of you could have done independently. Allow for the fact that they'll come back with it done 75% as well as you might have done it for yourself, but they will also come back with different interpretations, different ways of looking at it that ultimately will expand your own innovation capacity. The more that you can co-invent and co-create with the people around you, the smarter you're going to get, the more you're going to build up your own innovation capacity. So when you're looking to be an innovative leader, don't necessarily think, I encourage you not to necessarily think in terms of the being innovative. Maybe this would be very innovative for you to do, but more creating innovation capacity around you. And by creating innovation capacity around you, you're going to get a reputation for being an innovative leader, because you and your team are going to produce innovations that other people wouldn't have thought of. You're going to deliver more value than other people would be able to do, because what you're doing is you're setting up this environment where you're moving through an entire progression, starting with the value that can be added from simply making offers and moving your way up the ladder from that. If you want to know more about this, absolutely have a look at the book, The Innovation Mindset. And then the other thing that you can do is you can do my innovation readiness assessment. Link down in the comments below. It'll give you a little bit of a scorecard at the end of it. It'll get you to start thinking about what does it mean to build innovation capacity in my organization, and does that make me an innovative leader? Link in the comments, www.innovationcapacityassessment.com. Have at it. Let me know how it goes for you. And I wish you the very best of luck on your innovation journey. Welcome. It's fun.